If there's anything I've come to understand from making these videos, it's that so many names and words have deeply rooted histories. Seriously, trying to figure out where some names come from is like going on a huge Indiana Jones type quest, except the golden idol is a name, and the giant boulder is the comment section. However, this isn't always the case. Some names and words we use in everyday talk come from such obvious origins that when you hear some of these etymologies, you'll most likely either slam your palm to your face or groan and mutter to yourself, "Of course it is." Anyway, I'm starting to sound like the start of a Watch Mojo video, so let's get into it. However, by the end of this video, if you feel unsatisfied as you already knew some or all of these, then congratulations, you are much smarter than me. Let's start with one that I actually knew of before going into this video. It's one that I feel a lot of people may know, but still it's a good place to start, and things only get more ridiculous from here. Breakfast is considered by many to be the most important meal of the day. The day of this meal has its roots in the term fast. A fast, or fasting, is a period of time where you don't eat anything at all. A time of day you don't eat anything for sure is when you're sleeping at night. So when you wake up and eat breakfast, you are breaking your fast, which is exactly where the name comes from. One of personal interest to me is bank holiday. It's important to me as the name bank holiday not only inspired this video, but also helped inspire Name Explain as a whole. A bank holiday is something we have here in the UK, and I believe they're in other countries too. I guess they're the British version of a federal holiday in the States. Normally on a bank holiday, most people get the day off work, except if you work in retail, which is something I used to do, when Name Explain was but a twinkle in my eye. I remember being in the video game store I used to work at and needing to go visit the bank for one reason or another, but of course as it was a bank holiday, the bank was shut. I remember so clearly thinking to myself, why are the banks shut on bank holidays? And then it clicked, it's a bank holiday. A holiday for banks. It's silly light bulb moments like this that inspired this channel and my interest in how names came to be. Funnily enough, the next etymology I want to talk about is something you've been experiencing while watching this video, the passing of time, specifically the passing of seconds. So why on earth are these small units of time called a second? Well, an hour breaks into minutes and then it breaks into seconds, making seconds the second division of an hour, and that's how the name came to be, coming from the Latin secunda pars minuta, meaning second diminished part. So why isn't a minute called a first? Well, an etymology for a minute is from the medieval Latin pars minuta prima, which means first small part, which isn't as painstakingly obvious. In fact, the word painstakingly itself has a pretty painstakingly obvious etymology. Well, let's look at just painstaking as opposed to painstakingly. We say this word as painstaking, but the S at the start of staking should actually be at the end of pain. Pains taken, as in this etymology is so obvious it feels like you've actually taken pain because of it. A Protestant is someone who is part of the second largest form of Christianity. The term, however, predates the split in the religion, originally being used as a name for German princes who weren't too happy with the decisions that were being made that weren't in their favour. This term was then taken on by the followers of Martin Luther in 1517 when he went against the Catholic Church. So why did they become called this? Well, what did these German princes and followers of Martin Luther have in common? It's that they were fighting against something. The Protestants were protesters. A bobcat is a type of lynx that's indigenous to North America. They're one of the smallest wild cats, fun little creatures with fun little names. Bobcat. Honestly, it's just fun to say. Bobcat. When you hear a name like this, you might think it was a cat named after someone called Bob, but this isn't actually the case at all. The bob at the start of the bobcat isn't really supposed to be a noun, but more an adjective. A bobbed cat it ought to be. Bobbed as in something being short, like a bob haircut. So what part of the bobcat is bobbed? Well, while they are rather small on the whole, it's actually their short, stumpy, bobbed tail they are named after. There's actually another small mammal whose name begins with B that I want to talk about, that being the badger. Badger. Sorry, force of habit. Badgers are such odd, fun little creatures. Though perhaps that's my Hufflepuff showing. And of course that name is pretty odd too. A badger. How did this name come to be? Well, if you didn't guess by now, once you hear it, it's pretty obvious. If you look at the name badger, you'll notice it contains in its entirety the word badge, as in the little thing prefects wear on their lapel. This is because of the badge of white fur on the front of their heads, which it's believed they are named after. A secretary has a lot of jobs to take care of, from arranging meetings to replying to emails to grabbing coffee. However, the name for this job role comes from something else that secretaries are known for doing. This name has its roots all the way back in the Latin secretum, which means a hidden thing, and of course it also means a secret. Yes, a secretary is someone you entrust with your secrets, though this secret is kind of out now, as you'll notice the word secret is the main chunk of the word secretary. When you atone for something, it means you agree with something and accept it, as in the phrase atone for your actions. Another way you say you agree with something is to say you are at one with it. it. And seriously, as ridiculous as this sounds, I'm not making it up. Atone is literally just the words at and one put together. If you atone for your actions, you are at one with your actions. I know atone isn't a name, but neither was painstaking, and we talked about that. I guess I'm explaining just words now. The final etymology I want to talk about today is not only my favourite on this list, but perhaps my favourite etymology of all time. If you've been outside today, you have most likely seen a fence. They're literally everywhere, from white picket fences of suburban homes to chain fences of high security prisons. And of course, fences serve a lot of purposes, but the main reason fences exist is to stop people getting into a property, and in some cases like the aforementioned prison, to stop people getting out. A fence around your home is there to defend your home. It's for defense. The fence is for defense. Seriously, I'm not making this up. The word fence literally comes from taking off the from defense. How wonderfully silly is that? Of course, these are just 10 words with obvious etymologies. I have no doubt there are more words out there, and these words are only in the English language. Let me know down below in the comment section of other words and names, from English or not, that have painstakingly obvious etymologies. Thank you to all my patrons who help support Name Explain on a monthly basis. Supporting the channel financially via Patreon for a tiny amount a month is the best thing you can do to show your support for Name Explain. $2 a month not only helps the channel in a huge way, but gets your name here with all these fantastic people. Thank you.